Hi, I'm Rachel Chamness with soundwavesale.com. This is the November Masterclass for the Druids and Priestesses of Avalon, which is our theme this month. These are the light beings we are connecting to this month. And in this Masterclass, they're going to give us information about our highest timeline in this life and also Akashic knowledge. And they will be talking to us a little bit about Avalon rituals. So stay tuned. So this month, I'm just going to let them speak through me a little bit. They want to help us access the Akashic records for our highest timeline. So this is the highest energetic and greatest good timeline for our journey in this life. So this is not just for Ascension, but for each one of us so that we can manifest our dreams and wants so that they come to reality. They would like us to remember the sacred knowledge, ancient rites, and protectual rituals from Avalon. So that will be part of the attunement. We were there in Avalon, or we were observing from a higher dimension, they tell me, all of us. And they want us to connect deeper to the central sun to uplevel our 7D chakras. And all of that is going to help us more with the timeline. So that's what we'll be doing in the attunement, in the meditation, in the sigil attunement as well this month in Tag Lightworkers. So you can check out Tag on the website. The link is below if you aren't already a member. So we have three highlight beings stepping forward: Our Lady, known also as Magdalena, but as Our Lady in Avalon. She was in the Temple of Isis in Avalon, and she trained many of us as alkalides for this life as light workers. We also have Goddess Babesck, an ancient being of light called Mattagar, and then we have Druids Geneaux and Francois, as well as Priestesses Ballatette and Siveign. And so they're going to help us, and we're going to ask them about the Avalon rituals and the Akashic records. First, we're going to bring forward Our Lady. Now, we did bring her forward in the Avalon month before, but she reminded us that she must come forward this month as well. And I don't know if you remember being in the Temple of Isis with her in Avalon, but I do, and I've seen many tag members there. So maybe you remember as well, or will in a past life regression, or perhaps you will get some sort of insight on that. And I hope so. If you do, I'd love to hear about it. So let's let her talk a little bit. We're going to ask her about the Temple of Isis and about our connection as a soul group. You are all beings of light in Avalon times, as all of us were. And of course, you are a being of light when you are fully in your highest self or your oversoul. There was much work that we did there in the Temple of Isis. We studied the Akashic records and we formed the highest timeline that we could for this 3D life that you are living now in this time. This is a very important time for your planet and your species, and there are other species that are involved as well, many. And so we worked with these timelines and with much energy to create the best path. And it is now time for you to connect to that path. And so that is what we will work on this month in the offers of Tag. We will all come forward and put the pieces together for you. There were many rituals, yes, in Avalon, and our days were simple but ritualistic. And we worked simply and together as a group to make sure that this knowledge could be brought into this age. And so it is time for you to remember this knowledge. And we will help with that, of course. This book, the Akashic Record, it is a book of knowledge there are many versions for, there are Akashic records for your lives and your soul, and there are Akashic records for places such as the one you are in now that you call Earth. It is also a living being of Gaia, and so there is a book for it as well. And that is the one that we worked with to create what is to unfold now. We would like you to know that there is no stopping what will unfold. It is predestined and pre-written. And part of it was pre-written by us in that life. And that is what we did. Avalon was a very sacred place beyond the veil in Atlantis. And it was a very important work that all of us who were there did. And you were possibly in Avalon, depending on who you are watching this. Most of you were there in the tag group, and many of you were watching from a higher dimensional frequency. There were many tools that we used for our rituals. There were crystals, very large ones, and there were other tools as well. However, part of our work was imbuing you with these tools. The best way to describe it is if I would be imbuing you with a molecular structure. Of course, it's not a molecular structure because it is of higher dimensional frequency. But if you'd like to think of it that way, then you may. And so you don't need the physical tools. You only need the metaphysical tools in this life to bring it forward. And you will succeed. And it is a journey and a path between now and full ascension. Okay. So this is Rachel. And what she shows me is, well, actually, what she shows me is a Rife machine. Do you know what a Rife machine is? I have one. And what it does is, one of the things that it does is you can put in the molecular structure of something, like let's say a medicine, and then you can run the energy of the Rife machine on you, either directly or indirectly, which is a whole other discussion. But it works the same way, and that's kind of what she was showing me, because that's something I understand, that you can put the energy in your body like with something physical. Of course, we do these sort of things with psychic healing as well, but that is the best way that she can show that the crystals that we worked with, or the large tools, were imbued in us, and we just have to reconnect to that, which she's going to help us do in the attunement, so that we can bring all of this forward. I really like the way she said that there was an Akashic record for planet Earth, because that makes sense, because it would be for Gaia. So I thought that was really neat. Let's bring the goddess Babesck forward. I see her as a much more earthy, matronly goddess. She is very earthy and motherly looking. She reminds me very much of how I would think of Mother Earth, if I didn't know Gaia so well. So like a planetary mothering being. That's what she reminds me of, a mother of many, many beings. So let's bring her forward. You wish me to talk about the sacred rituals. And I understand the wanting to know. And I feel your trepidation of incorrectly bringing the ritual forward, this medium that I'm speaking through. And I understand. I want to tell you that the ritual that we did in the time of Avalon is not necessary in this life. It is different now. You can bring forth your own ritual, and we ask for you to do that. For every being here on earth is unique, and you can have your own way of bringing through the tools that you have been taught and imbued with. And so you need to find the ritual that is best for you. Perhaps it is morning meditation. Perhaps it is an evening walk with presence. Perhaps it is many hours in meditation, contemplation, and communing with your spirit guides and highlight beings. Perhaps it is sometimes one and sometimes another, for there are many times in your life which will require different rituals. For sometimes you may have more time, and sometimes you may have other obligations, such as parenting, such as intense work, and other time consuming third dimensional aspects of your life. So be gentle with yourself, but always seek the ritual that you are to bring forward. And that is the best way that you will find your highest ascension timeline is with presence and ritual, meditation, journaling, whatever it is that you are a vessel, that you are connected to your higher self and to your highlight helpers. And this is the way that you will get there, along with the usual advice of shadow work and personal work. Okay. Terrific. Okay, let's bring forth this ancient being, Matagar. He definitely has a lot of male energy. So let's see what he has to say. I'm going to ask him about the highest timeline. I am Mattagar, and I am a different type of being that you have spoken with before. There are only 3 of what you would call me, and we move through time differently. And so I am, as I always have been on this earth, in one incarnation. And this is a very high vibrational incarnation. And so I was here in every high vibrational place that was on earth, such as Lemuria and Atlantis and all the others. Your timeline is assured. When this third dimensional life gets you overwhelmed, exhausted, and defeated, you must remember that your success is assured in the highest timeline. As always, your path is only blocked by your own beliefs. This is not a judgment. This is the path of the human in the 3D life. There are many obstacles that have been told to you until you believe it. And once the density of these thoughts and these emotions and the density of this earth is beginning to lift away, and you can see the lightness of higher dimension, it will help you rise and rise. Much like Avalon rose as Atlantis fell and became another realm entirely, or returned to its original realm. For really, it was a gateway, a portal, but it was very physical in Atlantis, and it became more ethereal once again. We are all here to help you reach this timeline. And always we ask you, look inward. When things are not working out as you planned, when things seem as if they are going in the wrong direction, remember that it is only a time. It is only a stop on your path. It is showing you it is time for work, personal work, shadow work, to overcome, and you will overcome it. It is difficult in the moment, and I can see that, and I understand it, for I have been here for so long. But you have chosen this work, and you will be so proud when you get through it. I send you my blessings. Wow, his energy is amazing. He shows himself to me almost as if he's like almost like I was thinking like a gargoyle, like some sort of stone creature. Now I'm suddenly seeing him. Perhaps he is, and I have chills. Perhaps he's like a standing stone. But he says there's only 3 of them. I don't know. It was I have chills everywhere, so I must be on the right track. But it's a really interesting being. Whew. Okay, that was a little deeper trance too. I like that. All right, so we have 2 male druids, Geneaux and Francois. These beings pretty much give me how to spell their name, but I'm never sure if it's 100% right. So that's just what they told me their names were, and I think I got it close, hopefully. So we'll see. As I connect to Geneaux, I see him. I see them like monks. They are writing furiously. They are bringing in they're mediums, so they're bringing in information. Well, at that, you don't really need to be a medium in that high vibration. So they're writing down really important knowledge and information for the future. And I see many leather-bound books, and I'm asking them where they are now. Let's let Geneaux come through. Yes, we were scholars, and we wrote so much. Many days our hands were hurting at the end of the day, but it was always joyous work. And yes, there was so much that we needed to record, and there were many of us, and yet the work never seemed to be done. I feel as though many of you understand this. And so I say to you, there's always time to break for fast, for meal, and for everything. The work will get done when it gets done. Do not work yourself so hard. for it is tempting when there is so much work to do. I did work with the great Merlin in Avalon. There were great times of fun. We did not just write and record, but we also explored. We explored with the dragons that Merlin trained, and we went everywhere. Time and space were no barriers to us. We led more exciting lives than you would think of if you think of us as monks. We lived very long lives, very long. And so there was time for everything. You will live a very long life in this time as well, for there will be much to help you do that. Rejuvenation and higher vibration and a higher vibration for your entire body is where your body will not be so physical. And so there is much that will happen in the future for you all. Plus, there will be machines that rejuvenate you. They aren't quite what we had, but they will be eventually. Or you may not need them eventually. I'm trying to remember what it was I wanted him to tell us. I'm not sure if he answered or not. Oh, my face hurts. Okay. Well, let's bring in Francois. I had no idea they had exciting lives. That's not how I ever saw them. Okay, Francois. My job was with nature. I spent many hours speaking to all the beings in all the places where they inhabited the earth. The blades of grass and mushrooms, the trees and the leaves, and the wind and the earth itself, the rocks, and the places where worlds meet. And I took all of this knowledge and I recorded it without writing for long periods of time. And then I would write it, but not in the old-fashioned way that you've just heard of. This is Rachel. So what he shows me actually is that the way that he thinks is very like he doesn't forget anything. So his experience was that he was kind of so I just see him communing with nature so deeply and remembering it all. It's very much kind of like I want to say Walden, like that kind of really deep um, except that he was talking with the beings inside all of the nature. And then he would record it, but in a very ethereal way. So he would just, it's kind of like when you're a kid, you wish you could just download school so you wouldn't have to go, or you could just learn a language by like downloading it. It's kind of like that. He would just, take all the notes that he had put it in his brain and just recorded it in something. It just shows it's not like a screen or I don't know what it is. It's very interesting. So that's what he shows me. See if he has more to say. I don't think so. Okay. Well, the Priestesses, Ballatette and Siveign. The question is, what do you need to know for your highest timeline? you must be connected to certain beings who will help you. Some of this can be unconsciously, as many are your spirit guides or beings that are part of your spirit helper team. And so, with these connections, you will move forward. They will help you choose correctly in moving forward at all times so that you will reach your highest timeline. We wish to give you a boost in this month so that you feel the confidence that you will be able to do this. However, we are always with you, and you are connected to more beings than you realize. Some of you have a higher level of clairs that are open, and so that you see and commune more easily with the beings. And some of you do not understand how you commune with them. And so, my advice to you is to find out how, if you don't know yet, how to connect with all that help you, and you will have a smoother road to your highest timeline. Well, then I guess we're on the right track, because that's what we're doing here, is connecting to spirit guides and high vibrational helpers. Okay, so what she's showing me is that you're already connected to many. And of course, we know that. In TAG, we use the attunements to open our clairs and try to connect to them in a way that we can communicate with them at a higher level. And the more we do it, the more we can. It's been working for everyone for years. And so you can eventually get there. But it's really nice to hear her say that. So I guess great confirmation. We're doing what we're supposed to do. That's really going to help us get to the highest timeline. And I think that these guides, they guide us not only, in making decisions, but also in doing the work we're supposed to do. So sometimes when things seem really bad and everything seems to be falling apart, it's just another lesson that we have to go through. And of course, we've done it a million times. And still, it's triggering when it happens. And I see it happening for a lot of people now, happening to me too. It can be really triggering when things don't seem to be working the way you'd hope they would. And so I really like that they're really talking about that this month. I think it can really help all of us. So I hope it's helping you. This really is a hard part of Ascension, but so glad that we have this help. Let's talk to Siveign. Presence is always the answer. You cannot do wrong when you are in presence. And so I remind you of what you already know, that when you worry, you are not in present because you are thinking that the future will not work out for you. And when you are in anger, you are in the past, and you are dwelling not on this time. However, if you find yourself pulled out of presence, then you must find how to clear that trigger that pulls you out, whether it is anger or worry. And that is why there are so many of you light workers, because you can help each other. It is really that simple. And so I don't have much more to say. Stay in the present moment as much as you can. This is Rachel. I was like, you want to talk about how? And she was like, you can do it. And she showed me the blog post. So I have a blog post and a video here on YouTube as well about 7 or 8 ways to do shadow work. And they're really helpful. How to really do it so that you can be present, even if there's nothing to do. A lot of times we have these triggering things that happen and we have no control over it. That's why they're so triggering. So what do you do if you can't fix it? There's many things you can do, and there's a whole video on it. I'm not going to go into it now. And there's a blog post on it, so you can check it out. But there are ways to help you get past it. And all of that's happening for a reason. And it is really hard. We have to say, why is this happening? Okay, thank you, Siveign. So the rituals and Akashic records, I hope that they've answered enough questions about that. I kind of thought they were going to give us some specific rituals, but what they're saying is that we have to make our own rituals here, and that the memory of these rituals is a little bit important. And that's part of the attunement and things like that, to just bring that into it. Okay, so what they're showing me now, it's like fully, we have to bring this knowledge into our soul star chakra and into our body, because in 3D, we can't hold that much memory. So it's part of why there's so much amnesia about past lives. So just bring that in, and that will help us create our rituals more efficiently. And remember, they said that our rituals will change as our lives change, and that's okay too. I really want to say, be kind to yourself. They tell us to do a lot of things, and we do the best that we can. And just always to be working to do better without self-judgment is really, really important, I think. As far as the Akashic records, they told us a little bit about it. Perhaps we'll ask them a little bit more for those who don't know much about the Akashic records. So Siveign says she'll come back in and talk about the Akashic records a little bit more. It is the records of past, present, and future, alternate timelines, all that you will experience, all that you have chosen to do in this life is in your Akashic records. This is the record of who you have chosen to be part of your soul family, those you have chosen to have soul contracts with, those who will be interacting with you in your life, and other decisions you have made before coming into this life. So when you pass on after this life, you will go and review your Akashic records with a guide, and then you will later begin again to create what your record will be, what you will experience in the next life. And then when you go into that life, it may be different than what you have written, for it is not exactly set in stone until it is lived. Now, of course, there's more to this, because outside of 3D, there is no time. And I am speaking strictly of a third dimensional karmic wheel lives, where you are repeating your karmic destinies. And all of this is written in the Akashic records. And you may access your Akashic records, and you may access your memories, and you may access your information, which is in your book of Akashic records. And there are many types of Akashic record books for many different things. Okay, I hope that's a good explanation. And I hope that makes sense. I have not really taught much about the Akashic records. I use them in a sort of different way in meditations, but that makes sense to me. I hope it lines up with what you know, but that's what they're telling me, so I'm just bringing the message forward. I believe they've brought forward a lot of good information for our highest timeline, how we reach it. And of course, they're going to be giving us lots of help in this month, so that's great. If you're watching this video in tag, I know that you are really going to enjoy the rest of this month, and I'm really excited about it. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'd love it if you liked and subscribed to my channel, like this video. There will be many more masterclasses, and there are many more masterclasses in the archive. I have been uploading masterclasses from TAG every month in 2021, but of course, TAG goes all the way back to 2018 and is full of information. So thank you all, and I'll see you soon. And Blessings to you. Thank you for coming.